Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vierra, and today I am joined with the CEO of the Singapore Bullion Market Association, Albert Cheng. Albert, I'd like to welcome you here. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Albert, if you don't mind, I'll just simply start off by asking, what is the Singapore Bullion Market Association about, and what is its mission?
Well, Singapore Bullion Market Association was established in 1993, almost 35 years ago. And it was established with a group of bankers, traders, logistic provider in 93 before the government imposed GST on everything. And at that time, the industry gathered together, say, wow, if there's a GST on gold, that means there will be the end of the gold market because, gold cannot attract any tax. If there's tax, people will say, why I have to pay that tax? Then there is a ready parallel market to take over it. So we went to the government and say, can you look into this? And then the government say, well, we don't tax meal, we don't give exemption to meal, we don't give exemption to medicine and all other daily necessity. Why we have to give it to gold? So that was not successful. But after the event, the group did not disband. We continue to group together as a loosely social gathering group, and we continue the association registration until now.
And I understand the SBMA has a Project 2030 going on. Could you tell us a bit about SBMA 2030?
Well, this is a latest initiative from the association, but I'd like to backtrack a little bit that the SBMA, after formation in 1993, we continue to keep the registration, although we remain as a social gatherings group of people in a bullion circle, but we do have a registration with Register of Society, and we have a chairman, we have a committee, and we continue to function. And it was in 2010, the government represented by the IE Singapore at that time, come to the industry and say, well, we just have a very big run in the commodity market in the 2010 era. And it seems that we might have missed some opportunity. Is there anything that the government can do to bring back the gold business into Singapore? And we then were saying that, well, it is not impossible, but a few conditions need to be met. First of all, Singapore is not a big consumer market. We're a small population, and we are not a gold producer. There is no gold naturally coming out from Singapore, and we don't have a lot of trader here. Although we have a lot of international bank, we don't have a lot of gold trader. And lastly is we do not have a tax regime which is conducive to the gold market. And so if we have to revive the gold market, we need to study how we can do it. And at that time, I was working with the World Gold Council. So together with World Gold Council, the IE Singapore and the industry look into ways to resurrect the gold hub idea. And they commissioned an outside consultancy to look into it. And Oliver Wyman was contracted, and they come back with a report, and in that report we co-name it as Project Line 1. Right. So the famous Project Line 1 give the government a few recommendations. We would like to follow something like the Switzerland model, that by creating or by attracting refinery here, so that we can create an artificial flow of gold into the country, which is one. Secondly, we also look at the London market, the OTC market in London. We should actively promote Singapore as an OTC market. And then we also, most important of all, is remove the GST on gold, and also continue to attract more traders to come to Singapore using the convenience of Singapore being a financial hub, and it's an open market. Money moving in and moving out does not attract attention, and as long as you are legitimate. So with all these being a part of this project line recommendation, the government took it, and in 2012, they removed the GST on investment precious metals. And secondly, in that 1 or 2 years, they went around the world and talked to many refineries, and finally attracted Metalor to open up a refinery in 2014. And this naturally create flow of gold into Singapore. And the other important thing is to also ask the SBMA to professionalize, meaning that in order to be a loosely bound group of people, make it more structured, create a secretariat, and hire full-time staff to start to continue to champion the cause of bringing Singapore as a regional hub, and continue to do works which the government agency was doing. As government agency normally take on a project, they complete the project and they move on. And the industry need to continue to champion the cause of doing the same thing by themselves. So SBMA is taking up this effort. And we started operation in 2014-15. And at that time, we have a secretariat. And myself was being asked to come back and to help to build up the SBMA together with, at that time, Margaret Wong. And we continue to build our capacity. And one of the key things we done in the early day was to say, if we have to gather people here, we need to do a conference. So we then start the idea of organizing a regional conference, which we term it as Asia Pacific Precious Metal Conference. And we did it year by year, except the COVID year. And 2025 is the 8th edition. And next year, we're looking at 9 and 10 and so on. And this APPMC has now become our signature event, whereby the latest edition have 600 delegates joining with over 200 companies. And this gathering in middle of the year, every year, become a platform for the industry, not only ASEAN. It also attract a lot of international players who has interest in ASEAN market. Because you look around the global market, China, India naturally are the biggest market. Yes. And they have been developed in the last 10, 20 years. And some of them are getting into quite mature. But if you look around, where is a grouping of market which are potential, which is still at this very infant stage, is the ASEAN market. So international player who like to visit or would like to understand the potential of the Southeast Asian market need to come to the APPMC and connect with people. And SBMA is playing a role of connecting these people with that of the ASEAN player. And also the ASEAN player who would like to start opening up the market like Vietnam, like Indonesia, they also need to connect to the global market. And to connect to the global market, they choose Singapore as a conduit for them to connect to the global market. So with all this, SBMA has progressed quite a great deal over the year. And to give you a long answer to your earlier question of what is Forward SBMA 2030, is the industry or the association a couple of years back that we do a soul searching for ourselves, that with the call of the government in 2010, and we effectively started the journey in 2012 with the removal of GST. after a couple of 5-6 years, we actually have achieved as a regional gold hub. So the industry was gathering together that what will be the next 10 years that Singapore need to develop in order to get to somewhere and with a bigger vision. We, the management committee member of SBMA, look at the Singapore market and the Switzerland market and the terminal market in London and see what we have and what London has and what Switzerland has. And then look back at us, what we don't have. And we find out that there are 2-3 areas which we don't have. And if we can actually complete the building up of that infrastructure, we could be doing a role which is similar to London. So what are these 2 things that we don't have? One is we don't have a clearing and settlement system like the London market. We settle our gold in London. So that's why the local London market is always the benchmark for any people in the industry need to finally settle the gold in London. What if we have an Asian settlement system? If Singapore has that settlement and clearing system, we can actually clear our business in Asian hour instead of waiting for the London hour to come. This is the first thing. The second thing we don't have is London has a custodian service, not only for central bank, but also for institutional investors. So historically, over 100 years, 200 years, London become the places for people, for central bank to store gold. But sometimes it will be quite inconvenient if people like in Asia who has to store their gold, they have to store in London. And if they have to retrieve the gold, they have to retrieve gold from London. But if you don't put your gold in London, you cannot participate in the capital market. So we were saying that how about with the maturity of Singapore market, with a couple of storage facilities already in place, like the Freeport, like the Reserve, and like many other securities storage provider, we have ample of storage facility here. And we look at Singapore as an open economy. We have free flow of the financial market is open to anybody who are legitimately operated here. And we have a legal system quite very transparent and it's a robust rule of law system. So if we can have this custodian service also provided and established in Singapore, we could actually try to be an alternative global hub in Asia for the gold market, so that some of the settlement can be done in Asian hour. Doesn't mean that we will take over London. It's a 1+1 theory of maybe equal to 4 or 5 or 6, because it might be able to attract more business. It might be able to attract people who are not ordinarily participate in this settlement system, come to use the system in Asia because it's more convenient. So I took a long path to answer your question on forward SBMA 2030. So by 2030, we would like to get to a stage that we are able to have a custodian service in Singapore and a clearing system and settlement system in Singapore in Asian time zone, in Asian hours. That's our vision.
So you have a world-class airport, Changi. The shipping ports are world-class. And fair to say you have a government now that also supports the idea of Singapore being a gold trading hub?
I think different trading center around the world is looking at enhancing their presence in the global market. We see, for example, Hong Kong. Recently, they have been initiated from the Hong Kong government to try to look at building up the capacity of the facility of custodian at the airport. And they're also looking at trading system and clearing for many of their customers. And similar, we see Dubai also looking for that. And likewise, I think we will also see India in time to come. They will look for trying to build themselves as a regional gold hub. So I think the global market will be a connection of nooks.
Yes.
London probably is a key nook with the historical backing and the legacy. London will be the biggest hub, but with the gold consumption is now spreading around the world. Particularly, we see 60, 70% in Asia, depending on how you define Asia. We do need to have more hub in different part of the trading center, and this hub need to be connected together with the same protocol and same principle, trading principle. And what we are looking at for Singapore is we will be working in conjunction with London to create a mirror type of trading and clearing system, and we'll probably be using the same London protocol, and similarly using the same gold delivery system, so that the two markets can talk to each other, and which will be convenient for the user to use either one of them. And we're also looking at inviting the same kind of clearing member in both places, in both cities, and with, of course, some local bank participation. So these are concepts that we have been talking about in the Forward SBMA 2030, which again, we asked an external consultant to help us to put it together. And this project is called Project Line 2.
So 2012, then the GST was removed. We saw precious metals, I guess, rise just a little bit prior to that time. And I guess the government saw that, this could be a viable industry for Singapore. And then Metalor set up shop here a couple years later. How important was it to get Metalor, or how important is it to have a refinery based in Singapore?
That is crucial. Without a refinery, we cannot create a flow of gold into Singapore. I give you an example. In 2014, when they set up, they have a target that if we can do 50 tons, we will be break even and we will be able to survive. And I tell you now, in the peak of last 2-3 years, they have done 450 tons, 9 times. So that means it tells if you have the right kind of strategy and policy, and you create a condition which is conducive to this making of Singapore as a gold hub. The key thing is removal of GST on the investment grade precious metal. The second thing is to create a flow of gold into Singapore. With the Metalor, the refinery here, they will have to collect scrap gold, not only from Singapore. Singapore is too small. They collect scrap gold from the region. So all the ASEAN countries who would like to transform the scrap jewelry or other electronic scrap, they need to go to a refinery to upgrade. And Singapore being the most convenient place for them to send their scrap gold in. So the scrap gold come into Singapore. If it's a height of 450 tons, that 450 tons turn into kilobar and sell into the market. So that create a flow which fit into the banking system, fit into the trader, and eventually it go into the end consumer, like investor, like gold jewelry manufacturer who use the kilobar to make jewelry.
I mean, you can see how all the pieces for the infrastructure is really all set up, or even here running operational already, especially within ASEAN, because Indonesia, you have gold mining.
Yep.
Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, you have jewelry manufacturing. Singapore, you have bullion storage. You have the financial system that is set up for liquidity, let's say.
Yeah.
Metalor, which is an LBMA refinery, is also set up here. ASEAN, the future of ASEAN as a whole, how do you see it now?
Well, ASEAN, I mean, you look at the current statistic that we've seen is in terms of physical flow every year, I think the turnover in and out is about 400, 500 tons in the peak time, and then 3 to 4 in the lower range. These are the flow of physical into the country. Now, not counting that the banks and the trading houses are doing trading and other derivative products, which would be 10, 20 times of this physical gold flowing in. You just mentioned that Indonesia is a gold producing country. In fact, they are, I think, the second largest in Asia after China. And Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, they are big consumption because of the huge population. And in the past few years, the rise of the middle class has triggered them to look at gold as an investment or as jewelry, because once you get rich, you want to accessorize yourself. So we see a very good division of labor in ASEAN country that we do have kind of different capability from different countries, and together ASEAN form a very cohesive market. We have gold mining, huge gold producer from Indonesia, big consumption market in Vietnam and Indonesia and Thailand. We have Singapore as an open economy, trading facility, and the financial market, which help the gold flow into Singapore, and which then surfacing the whole of South ASEAN country. And we also have a very robust banking system. Basically, all international bank who has bullion services will have a branch here, and they will service these people. And we are well connected to China, and we are also well connected to India. So we are sitting in a place that we can service 3 group of market in one place. So to continue to progress Singapore as a global hub in Asia time zone, will benefit both China, India, and ASEAN. And that's an ambition and vision that we are looking at until 2030. And to build this, it probably need another 20, 30 years, but we need to go into the right direction. And the infrastructure that we have, and we have assembled in the past 10 years, has given us sufficient factors to build Singapore as a next Asian global hub for precious metal.
Yeah, it's a good point, because when you take that 10,000 foot, peek at things, ASEAN is really set up well. Singapore is really set up well for that 2030 type of vision that you're seeing. Digital gold, we hear this all the time, tokenization of gold. What role do you see that playing?
I think the whole financial industry is going digital, and the gold market is lagging behind. Sorry to say that we are lagging behind, because the industry has not put in sufficient resources to develop this area of business. And there are also an inherent issue with the physical gold market is in many other financial products, which are just a number in the computer, it's very easy to digitize. But in our gold market, every transaction in theory has a physical gold need to be delivered. And how it can be converted from the physical delivery of a piece of physical metal in London to your digital wallet, the transformation process, I don't think there is any vendor or initiator has cracked that properly. So I think the industry should collectively trying to crack this, like what we did 20 years ago on gold ETF. Gold ETF is a transformational changes to the gold market because it helps investors who ordinarily don't come to the physical gold market, who only want to access the gold market through the exchange stock market, using the gold ETF as a proxy to invest in gold, and they give them the assurance that it has physical behind. So the mechanism behind the gold ETF went a long way to get the confidence of the investors. I think tokenized gold, it need to be mainstream. It need to get the trust of the average investor who look at it as an alternative way to own gold, who may already say, I want to buy some gold, but I'm very familiarized in the token digital world. I want to access gold through the digital world. And if you have a product which fit into this. Currently, all the digital gold product or tokenized product are catered for people who are savvy in the crypto world. So you create a product which is understandable to the crypto world, but to the ordinary investor, they do not understand. So the crypto world need to find a way, either make it clear or explain clearly how this product related to them, how this cryptalized gold is the gold that they actually own. It needs education. Maybe it does not need a lot of transformational thing. It needs education. Or secondly is you need to make the process so seamlessly easy that I'm accessing gold. I can either go to a gold jewelry store or I go trading retail shop to buy a physical, or I go to the stock exchange to my broker to buy gold ETF, or I go to a crypto provider, I buy this, which is equivalent to buying gold in different form, and my pricing is the same, and you have to make me feel comfortable. I think currently the provider of digital gold has not achieved that. And if we can achieve that, it will be a transformational changes to the gold market.
Naturally, the next question is going to be how do you think you'd be able to achieve that? I mean, is it more tracking, storage facilities that are a bit more transparent?
I myself do not actually are very familiar with the crypto world in myself. So the crypto world is still quite a mystery to many people, including myself. So I think the industry or the product initiator should look into it and work with partners who are in the physical gold trading world. Very often I see most of the digital products are created by IT savvy people without a full participation of the physical gold trading world. We need a marriage of the two group of people together, because the IT people, they will create a product which through their logic is perfectly, absolutely right. But to the gold trading world, there may be some intricacy thing need to be married in order to get a product which appeal to the customer.
I think a lot of us, we can see that there needs to be some kind of a bridge between the digital or tokenization world and the physical gold world. So that way the liquidity or the movement or the way you can use it, I think a lot of those things would come to fruition.
I think the current product in the market, which the crypto world understand, they will use it as a way to hedge against their crypto asset. When they make money in a crypto asset, they park some money in this crypto gold, which they feel more solid, and then they will continue the transaction. But the product, if it need to be successful, it need to be able to convince the general investment public who love to invest in gold, but want to access it, but giving them an alternative to invest in through digital means will be a win.
I guess I'll just simply summarize this with asking you, what should we know, or what do you want us to know about gold?
This is a big topic.
We got time.
Gold is very simple. It's a few thousand years of history. It's as simple as buying a piece of physical gold because it helps you to preserve your wealth, and it's timeless. It's transferable. It's nobody else's liability, and you can keep it in your secrecy, or you can ask somebody to store for you, and it's out of the so-called fiat currency world, and so I think that merit has been carried down through generation, and it has been interpreted in different way. The current wave of so-called hype in the gold market was because even the central bank in the past 10 years has been heavily investing in gold. Then, as an ordinary layman, I say, if central bank invest in gold, why I'm not doing it? Because central bank is a very trustworthy body in each of the country that if they make a decision, it could probably go through many layers of decision making. If they make a decision to invest in gold in the past 10, 15 years, more than 15 years, and the way I look at it is the volume has not decreased. Average, we see 1,000 tons of gold invested by various central banks. And it must be some reason behind. If I don't understand totally, and all investors are a herd follower. So if the central bank is doing it, why I'm not? So I think even though price of gold has been increased time after time in the past 2-3 quarters, people still follow. And very often in Southeast Asia, when we see a hike of gold price, some of these people who own physical gold will say, let's sell this and take profit. But we hardly see a huge amount of them coming back. So I think this trend is something that reflects this mentality of trying to find somewhere to store my wealth, and also reflect the political uncertainty, the geopolitical uncertainty, which is everywhere around the world. And if you turn on the radio every day, you hear this thing happening. And that gives you a sense of uneasiness. And even though the equity market is performing very well in US, but only a few stocks, not every stock. So where should I put my money? So I think quite a number of people which has not invested in gold before has come to invest in gold. And we also sometimes I get question about investment in gold from people who never ask this question. Of course, because they know I'm working in this field, they will ask me a question. Is it time to buy gold? I say, anytime. If you will prepare, you buy. I mean, there is no time that you can find a best time to buy, and any time you can buy. If you have the money, you can buy, and if you want to buy, you buy. But of course, at the level that you can afford.
I'll ask you this question. You mentioned the word uncertainty these times. If my finger was a needle, are we moving towards uncertain times? Is it pointing more this way, or is it more things are comfortable?
I think in the near term it's still uncertain. I don't see. I cannot get comfort from anybody saying anything or anything happening in the world that give me that comfort. I think the world is still moving towards uncertain, and unlucky that we are in Singapore. We have a steady hand here, and we'll face the uncertainty together.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think the government has set a lot of things up in the right way to shore a lot of what's coming, and so has the Singapore Bullion Market Association. So, Albert, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate everything that you spoke about. I think a lot of us, we may not have known or understood these things, but you laid it out very well, so thank you.
Thank you.
So again, Albert, you gave us a lot of great info. Can you let us know how we can follow you on social media?
You can follow us on social media like Facebook, Platform X and LinkedIn. Thank you.
Glad to have you. Wish you all the success.
Thank you for having me.
That was Albert Cheng, CEO of the Singapore Bullion Market Association. To see more of their work, please head on over to sbma.org.sg. If you like this video, please do subscribe, share, and give it a thumbs up. All are greatly appreciated. Audio-only versions of this interview can be found on iTunes and Spotify.